Good morning, everybody. My name is Richard Stittle. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Employer Engagement Department at West Suffolk College. So this morning, myself and my colleagues are going to try to answer all of your questions around apprenticeship training from the small list inquiry about what we offer to actually the delivery points of the course. So if we go around and just let my colleagues introduce themselves, then we'll have a look at some questions. Kat, do you want to go first?
I'm Katrina Bacon. I'm head of health, science and social care apprenticeships, including pharmacy and dental.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Lolly Sims. I'm Programme Lead for Early Years and Education.
And I'm Matthew Rawlings, Programme Lead for Management and Professional.
Okay, great. So we've got some questions here. So first one, with an apprenticeship, how many days would I work and how many days would I study? I'll pick that one up, the first one, if you like. It all would depend on the course that you're doing. Some apprenticeships have a day release to college, so you'd be 4 days a week with your employer and a day at college throughout the term of your course. Some other apprenticeships are solidly work-based, so there would be no college attendance. You'd be a full-time member of staff doing vocational training, and in that you do have a 20% off-the-job training built in to every single apprenticeship. So to answer that one, you would be working full-time, sometimes in 1 day a week, depending on what you're doing, but sometimes fully work-based. Okay, what are the benefits of an apprenticeship? Kat?
Okay, so the benefits of an apprenticeship are that you actually get your learning while you're earning. So for all apprentices, you get paid while you're learning the work. The wages do vary. There is a minimum wage, and actually I can't remember that. Rich, do you know what that is for apprenticeship wage at the moment?
$4.15 at the moment.
Lovely, thank you. But we do work with different employers who actually can pay more than that. So depending on what vocational area you go in, you may get paid, and it's a really good value to the employer because they're skilling you with the way they work, and you learn on the job.
Fantastic. Okay, Matt, we'll come to you with the next question. So what does teaching and learning look like at the moment due to COVID?
Okay, so at the moment, bear in mind we used to obviously do talk sessions and talk delivery at college or different college locations, sometimes in the workplace as well. However, due to COVID now, obviously we can't do that. So what we're coming up with is we use a lot of different resources now, namely Teams and Zoom as being our main platform that we present on. And what we found is we can complete very much interactive sessions with groups of learners. The groups tend to be anywhere ranging from 4 to 15 people, learners, sorry. And yeah, it's all interactive, it's all done online, it's all done via the computer, phone or iPad, whatever device that you have and can use. Because of how it's gone, it's become very interactive now, and yeah, I think what we're delivering now is really good, high quality as well. What tends to happen as well is you'll get invites for every meeting that's happening, any talk session that's occurring, and you get a full line of sight what the day will actually contain as well. The days can be anything from different times, 9:30 to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, but they are there. You do get lots of breaks in them as well.
Matt, can I just add on that as well? Actually, with some of the teaching, depending on what apprenticeship route it is, for some of them, they do still come into college and have their teaching in the classrooms, particularly around construction and built environment, isn't it, Rich?
Absolutely.
And yep. Engineering, actually, yeah.
Correct. That's correct. Okay, thank you very much, Matt. Lorraine, for you for the next one. I think I'd rather do an apprenticeship. What local employers do you work with, and what kind of apprenticeships can you do? It's a big question.
What, just for me personally, or?
We'll open that one up, but you start.
I see. Well, we work in all the areas. We work in Haverhill, Sudbury. Well, we're vast. We're West Suffolk. Yeah, I have got learners in Norwich, Peterborough. I've forgotten what the other side of the question was, sorry.
What employers
yeah.
do you work with, and what apprenticeships do you do?
Well, we do early years and childcare, so we go into nurseries around the area. We will go into schools also. We do childminders, so we're doing level 3s and level 2 early years childcare. So if you work within a nursery, it's a good starting stone to get you employed in that environment if you like it. And we advance on to level 3, and there also is a level 5 apprenticeship for management as well. Has that answered that?
Thank you, Lolly. Yeah, I'll add to that we currently work with around about 950 employers in the area. And that can be anything from a very small SME, so it could be 3-4 person plumbing company, up to multinationals and people like the NHS and Mediterranean Shipping Company. So the range of employers that we work with is kind of endless. And we would work with apprentices as they apply to find whether they are suited to a smaller or larger employer, to make sure that it fits their skill set and their character. The range of apprenticeships that we offer is so vast, it would take up the rest of the call here if we went through them all. What I'd suggest to do to look at the range is to go onto the college website. It gives a nice breakdown of everything that we offer on there. It also gives you how the eligibility criteria, so what you need to already have to be able to do that apprenticeship, and all of the different delivery models. So I would suggest that, but yeah, the list of local employers that we work with is endless. Okay, next question. Are apprenticeships hard to come by in these times? I'll take this one just because I've seen some recent statistics which are really good for the east of England and West Suffolk, that apprenticeship recruitment, despite COVID, is only down by 5%, which is staggering. So only 5% less than it was last year. So are apprenticeships hard to come by? A lot of employers are still advertising. They are still looking to bring people in, bring in their next generation of employees. So my suggestion would be to keep an eye on the vacancies on the college website, and the National Apprenticeship website gives you a massive overview of everything that's out there and the industries that are recruiting at the moment. Okay, next question. Kat, I'll come to you with this one if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm really keen to apply, but I feel a bit nervous. Is there much support available to support me? So I guess that's right from application point.
Okay, so please don't be nervous, and there absolutely is loads of support for you. So as soon as if you're interested in apprenticeship, one of the business development executives will work with you and support you all the way through to enrolment. They then complete your enrolment, and they then hand it over to the programme tutors, the delivery team. You will be allocated a programme tutor who then works with you and supports you for your entire apprenticeship. They work closely with you and your employer, and they will do regular meetings with you, as Matt explained, and that will be virtual. There will also be some observations that they have to do. So when we're allowed, they will come out into the workplace and to support you. And as part of an apprenticeship, you may well be aware that obviously you need to do or have maths and English. And if you haven't got your maths and English, and depending on what level you work at, there can be some specialist support from one of our functional skills programme tutors as well. Equally, we also have a learning support mentor. So anybody that has neurodiverse support needs, so maybe learns slightly differently, they may well be supported by a programme tutor from personal support as well. So potentially there could be 4 different people supporting you in your learning journey, and they will stay with you. As I say, your programme tutor for the programme will stay with you and support you for the entire learning journey. Others may dip in and dip out as you need, but you will be 100% fully supported.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Kat. Brilliant. Okay, next question. If I wanted to do an electrical course, if I did the full-time course, how quickly would I get the same qualifications as if I did an apprenticeship? The full-time course for electrical, you would be at college for 3 days a week, realistically for 2 years. With the apprenticeship, you would it would have the same duration of 2 years, but you would be 4 days a week with your employer and a day a week at college. One answered that one. Matt, for the next one to you, do I need a laptop to study from home?
Well, a laptop helps obviously, but it's not definitely, you don't, as I said earlier, there's other devices that you can use. A phone does just about everything now. An iPad does just about everything. The laptop itself, yeah, I think they're probably the main methods that we can use actually. So yeah.
Great, that's fine. Lorraine, to you for the next one. How are apprenticeships assessed?
Oh, interesting question. It depends what you want to do, really. Yeah. If you can break that down, how do you mean, like, assess? Sorry.
I think it means that the question seems to be around how do we assess how the person is doing in the workplace? How do the program tutors go in to do the observation?
Do you want me to step in, Lolly?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm not hearing it very well. Sorry. I'll try and do something with my volume.
Okay, so apprenticeships are assessed by different assessment methods. So one of the things I have said is through observation. Every single apprenticeship will be required that you are observed in practice. But there's also very different methods, and that might be through a portfolio. Well, it will be through a portfolio of evidence. So you may well do reflective accounts, you may well do witness testimonies, you might do projects, you might do journals. In some of the building environment construction-based apprenticeships, I know they often use videos and photographic evidence. So depending on what apprenticeship it is, it may vary slightly, but overall, generally, that's how they are assessed. And it's going through the apprenticeship journey. You're assessed as you go through your learning journey. But for all of them now, we are moved over to standards. So there is now an endpoint assessment at the end of your learning journey. And that is where somebody independent from the awarding organisation will come in. That varies what it is. It could be, again, observation. It might be professional discussion. But you will be supported by your program tutor, and you are not put through endpoint assessment until you as the apprentice, your program tutor and your employer are confirmed that you are ready for that final assessment.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Katrina. I can't hear very well. Sorry, I'm going to get my headphones.
Yeah, okay, so also with some of our qualifications for AAT, for instance, there's an exam that kind of a part of the build up for the AAT qualification itself. So there will be some of the HR accounts, you do have exams that you also have to complete as part of it.
Thank you, Matt. Perfect. Okay, next question. What kind of grades do I need? Well, it depends on what apprenticeship you're looking to do, so which route you're looking to go down. So for anything that is engineering, for instance, we would look for a minimum of 5s in maths, English and science, okay? It will differ from course to course as to what you need. So again, I would check that on the website. It does say what the eligibility criteria is on there. It does differ depending on what you're looking to do, but that is all listed on there for you. I would like to be a carpenter. Do I do a full-time course or an apprenticeship? I'm 16 and then predicted good 6s and 7s at GCSE.
An apprenticeship? You absolutely do an apprenticeship.
without question. That's not even a question. Yeah, of course. I mean, you've got easily there, you have got the eligibility on your GCSEs to do so. It would mean that you do get paid for your learning, obviously. So you're not just getting the theory of full-time, you're actually getting the competency, which is in the construction industry is paramount. There's another support question, Kat, if we can come to you with this one, if that's all right. Is there support for SEND apprentices?
Absolutely, yes, there is. And again, through your enrolment, we would obviously identify what those learning needs are. And then there would be adaptations made with your apprenticeship. The length of stay may be longer. The support people who are who support you will be allocated. So it really is bespoke to that individual. But I can definitely say, yes, there is support for apprentices with SEND.
Fantastic, thank you, Kat. Okay, next question. Do I have to have an interview? I'll take this one because it's dealing with the recruitment side of things. You certainly do. You would have an interview with one of the talent coaches from the college when you applied. Okay, so that would be your first interview. And then if successful, when we put your application form forward, you would then have an interview with your potential employer. Again, we can give you support and interview techniques and give you some coaching ahead of that if it's your first interview, or if you would like any of that kind of help. We can certainly give you pointers and interview techniques so that you have the best possibility of success. So you certainly do have an interview the same as you would apply for any full-time job. Okay, is there progression to do a university apprenticeship after? Would anybody like to say that one?
Yeah, I can do that one. So for management, for instance, you could there's a clear kind of progression route there. For what tends to happen is you go through the level 3 at team leading, then you go to level 5, and the level 5 tends to be that's equivalent to the first year at university, but then it can go further on then to level 6 and to level 7. So there's clear pathways there. For our HR provision, that also goes up to level 5 again, which is the first year of university. So it's not quite doing a degree, but it's very much you're doing a qualification that's equivalent to a degree, which is probably the best way of putting it. But there's definitely progression routes there for you.
Can I just say as well, on the back of that, Matt, certainly in health, many of our apprentices who then complete the level 3 senior healthcare, they do then go on within the NHS trust to do their nursing degree or assistant practitioner. So again, there's definitely clear pathways. And within science apprenticeships, we are working on the development for us currently. So we will hopefully be offering that very soon to go on and do degree level apprenticeships.
Thank you both. Brilliant. Next question. Is there a charge for an electrical apprenticeship? Well, the big answer to that question is there is never a charge to the apprentice. It would depend on the size of the employer, the age of the apprentice, and that's something we would work out with the employer as to whether there was a charge or not. But there is never a charge to the apprentice themselves. If there are any training fees incurred, they are paid by the employer. But I say it's done on an individual basis, that one, depending on age of apprentice, course that's being taken, and size of the employer. Okay. Does an apprenticeship take the same time as a normal college course? Kat,
I would say no, it's not standard really. For the apprenticeships, each apprenticeship has a minimum, well, apprenticeships generally have a minimum length of stay. Depending on the apprenticeship you do, depends on how long that apprenticeship lasts. So we have some apprenticeships that may take 15 months. Equally, we have some that can take up to 48 months. However, what I would say is the apprenticeship journey is very individual to you. So just to give you an example, for my area in social care, for instance, for a level 3 apprenticeship, it may take about 18 to 24 months. However, as you go through your enrolment, the business development executive, they do the skills scan with you and they identify what you know already, what learning needs you've got. And so actually, they might enroll you for 18 months on that apprenticeship. We can then have somebody else who's doing the same apprenticeship, but actually they might take 24 months. So it's very, very individual. And so whereas a college course, for instance, might take 2 years, you could potentially achieve your apprenticeship much sooner than that. So although you are signed up or enrolled for an apprenticeship that might be 2 years, it doesn't mean that it's going to take 2 years. The more work you put in, the quicker you, if you respond and keep on track of all of your targets and stuff, you can absolutely achieve it sooner.
Thank you very much, Kat. Okay, next question. What grades do I need for a plumbing apprenticeship? We'd be looking at 4s in maths and English for the plumbing apprenticeship. Perhaps if you had a 3 other subjects, you would then look to take a functional skill as part of the apprenticeship, and we would do some maths and English assessments with you before the enrolment. And for plumbing apprenticeship, what companies do you work with? It's probably the wrong forum to name companies that we work with right now, but please, if you contact us, I can get Paul, who's a member of my team who looks after the plumbing apprenticeships, to contact you with some names of some companies that that you could contact and speak to. Okay, would it be beneficial to get an apprenticeship myself before I apply? That's a great question, and at the end of the day, it is down to the potential apprentice to seek their employment. Now, myself and my team help in that process by speaking to employers and generating vacancies for candidates to apply for. However, if you can find yourself the apprenticeship yourself off your own back, which we do suggest for you to look for, then you can just do that and then approach us, tell us you've got an apprenticeship with this company. We will then do all the matching up, visit the company, make sure there's contracts in place, health and safety and everything. So it's if you can, it's a great idea to be able to try and source one for yourself. Okay, next question. What is a degree apprenticeship?
Matt?
I'm not doing one. So what I would think it is it's an apprenticeship, but it's at a degree level, and you get a degree at the end of it. We are, again, things are happening at the moment in terms of we're working on introducing some more degree apprenticeships. It's not something that I deal with personally at the moment, though.
No, it's something that we're certainly looking to roll out, isn't it?
Yeah.
The higher levels that are coming in. What is the average wage? Okay, yeah, another good question. We're fortunate with the we work for, that the average wage we see paid to our apprentices, and that's across the board, so that's looking in every single industry, it's about $5.50. That seems to be the average wage we see on applications. Some industries will always pay lower, some will always pay higher. So for instance, we had 2 laboratory technicians started last year, and their first wage out of school was $17,000 a year, which is absolutely great. So there are good salaries to be found. Next question, has COVID affected apprentices specifically? I wouldn't say that it's affected them specifically. There were some areas, obviously, the industries that got hit hardest and had to close, as they are in a lockdown now in hospitality, I think some applicants were furloughed through the period, but they haven't specifically been affected more than anybody else.
And actually, Rich, on the back of that, we've had actually retained really good engagement across the board through apprenticeships through the whole time. Haven't we? I mean, absolutely, as you say, there has been an impact, but that's understandable. But considering of the the pandemic, there has been really good engagement, retention with apprenticeships.
I think we're tending to find for management at the moment that COVID has affected it quite a lot, just for the fact that responsibilities have kind of changed considerably now, and there's been a lot of people having to do a lot more work, so there has been some kind of some effect of it because of that.
Some different areas, isn't there? There's some areas which have been, and some where people have kind of carried on, but as I said, the communication and buy-in from everybody has been fantastic.
Absolutely. Just sorry, Rich, on the back of that as well. I mean, obviously, as I said, one of my areas is health, and obviously that's had a massive, the whole pandemic's had a massive impact. And when we first went into lockdown, I thought, oh, that's it, I'm going to lose quite a lot of apprentices, and there's going to be quite a lot of delays and stuff. But actually, I'm very proud to say that actually we've had really high engagement with all of the health apprentices, and working really closely with the NHS Trust has been absolutely pivotal in making sure they continue.
And I would like to just add to that as well. I've found that the learners since COVID, because we're having quite one-to-one sessions via Teams, Zoom or something, there's far more engagement, and they're at the work environment, they're much more relaxed, and they've been very focused, engaged, and also speaking to employers, having more time with them has been good.
Certainly. Okay. Am I more likely to get a job or keep a job with an employer after an apprenticeship compared to uni? It's a tough question. I mean, the retention rate with apprenticeships, I can't talk about the retention rate for graduates, but I can tell you the retention rate for apprentices is about 90% will continue with their employer once they complete their course. And a lot will then carry on to do higher levels of training with the same employer. I guess the big difference would be if you are an apprentice, you don't just have the theory side, you also have all of that competency, hands-on work, where perhaps the graduate wouldn't have that. So I could say that the retention rate for apprentices is still very high. What opportunities are there in Suffolk and Norfolk for working on wind turbines and renewable energies? There are big opportunities, not ones that we offer at the moment, but I know that there are a lot of opportunities with other providers. So that's something, again, if you have a look at the Institute of Apprenticeships website, you may be able to find a provider who is looking at doing that. What sort of numbers do you currently have for active apprentices? I'm just going to move slightly because the sun's getting in my eyes. Active apprentices at the moment, I believe, is around 1,800 in program, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1,800 in learning at the moment, which is obviously great numbers.
And just going back on what you said earlier, Rich, there is still growth, more, and there's still more coming in, so it is continuing to grow. Yeah,
it certainly is. Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for all of your questions. Some really good ones in there. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Matt, for answering those questions on the spot. Anything else that you need from us in the employer engagement department, please just drop us a line, drop us an email, and we'll get back to you with any questions that come in after today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.